do you think future radio is going to die?
No.
Do you not mess up when you're talking?
So what?
No? Yeah, we mess up.
Rajinikanth has an insane fan base. The day something happens to him, Tamil Nadu will be on fire. But I don't think that will be the same for Amitabh Bachchan. What is loyalty? Yeah? I think loyalty is overrated. When you're in a particular role, have complete ownership of that role. Loyalty and all can go take a
Backseat.
flying far. Some of my posts, there are people who get upset and give gali and all of that. Trolls, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And my first response, oh my God, you're so cute.
Hello, Bio family. This is a special video because this is the 10th episode of the Barely Opinionated show. Thank you so much for supporting us throughout the journey. When we actually started, we weren't really sure of what this was going to turn into, but your support has motivated us to continue this and make this bigger and better. So stay tuned for some more exciting episodes we have coming for you. Now this episode is with Jimmy, a well-renowned radio jockey who has been in this industry for 20 plus years. Can you believe it? We talk about radio over the years and if it actually has a future. Jimmy shares a lot of insights into how radio makes money, how much an RJ can make, and why radio is still one of the best mediums of broadcasting. Beyond radio, Jimmy shares his experience of having to take on social media, the backlash he gets for his comments, and the crazy stories throughout his journey. But before we go ahead, make sure to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with all the content we put out and like this video so that it can reach more people. So strap in and let's dive into it.
Come on, let's do this.
Okay. Second take, welcome to the Barely Opinionated show.
Thank you.
We have Mr. Jimmy here, who is a veteran of the radio industry.
That's correct.
21 years in the same industry. How does it feel?
See, when you say 21 years in the same industry, and the way you say it, it's like, I'm judging you, bro. So you no guts to go out and look for another job. Okay, no. So 21 years, it's been good, man. I've enjoyed it. It's been an amazing ride because I've done multiple things. We'll get to that later. I'm almost like, I think, furniture in my office space.
Okay.
Once in a while they come, they dust me, polish me up a little bit. And but I've enjoyed every bit of it, man.
So my first interaction with you, or in relation to you, was not actually with you.
Yeah.
But then I came on Radio Mirchi and I took over one of your episodes.
That's correct.
Yeah? Why was that? Why were you getting influencers to take over your show? Or content creator? I can call myself
cute.
I was just going to say, I'm sorry.
You think you're an influencer?
No, I'm not. Why did you want content creators to take over your show?
So actually, the thing is that I was going off on leave and the morning show generally is one of the flagship shows of the station. It's the most important show with the highest listenership. And we could have got someone from the team to do it.
Correct.
But we said it's an opportunity to do something different. So why not use that opportunity? Why not use that opportunity to give our listeners something else from what they normally get? And that's why.
What's interesting, Jimmy, is that I got the producer's call. A week before I got that call, I was discussing with my team and we were talking about, should we go on radio? Should we try and see if there's any way Barely Opinionated can work with some sort of radio?
Right.
And a week later, I just got a message saying that, hey...
The universe, man.
Exactly.
The universe conspiring to give you what you want.
Exactly. And that... So, my experience with radio was... I mean, I would say I think the producer at that time was sort of frustrated with me because I took so long to sort of get used to how I need to talk and everything. She sort of groomed me into how I need to talk, which is very different from how I talk on camera, right? Which is what I'm used to.
Right.
So when I did it, I thought it'll take me an hour and a half. It took me at least a good 3.5 hours to finish 15 minutes of content.
Right.
So I had a next level respect for what you do. Are all of your shows completely live or do you pre-record?
No, we're live.
All live.
Yeah.
Do you not mess up when you're talking?
So what?
No?
Yeah, we mess up. I mess up, I fumble, I laugh at myself. I say, oh, my tongue just got, I don't know why I said that. Even this morning I fumbled. It happens all the time. And that's okay. I'm not perfect. I'm not even trying to give you an image that I'm perfect. I'm human just like you. I'm here. It's just that I have a mic and I'm talking to you, with you, I'm entertaining you. That's all. That's the only difference. But otherwise, I'm human only. Yeah? So I'm going to make mistakes.
Interesting. And what I also noticed was that a lot of RJs there had a huge fan following. Like they were getting gifts and everything. You being in the industry for 21 years, I'm sure you have a diehard fan base also.
I don't know.
No, I mean, I'm sure
I can't say for sure, and I'll tell you why. So, what you would have noticed is the regional jock getting a lot of gifts, because that bond or that connect that you have with a regional person and a regional is far stronger, which is why even if you look at digital content, your vernaculars are doing far better
correct.
than anyone from India trying to do English.
Yeah.
Right? Your vernaculars do, and you'll know this. You have the stats, you have the data. Why is that? Because it's like son of the soil, that connect is very strong. So when I'm talking in English, yes, I have a base, I have a fan base, but it's not a die-hard fan base. It's not someone who will, like your Rajinikanth. Rajinikanth has an insane fan base. The day something happens to him, Tamil Nadu will be on fire. But I don't think that'll be the same for Amitabh Bachchan.
Right. That's interesting. I think it will, Amitabh Bachchan.
I'm not sure.
No, Amitabh Bachchan, it'll happen because he's also Hindi.
Yeah. I just have a feeling that because your audiences are so diverse.
Correct.
It's like the jack of all trades, master of none kind of scenario, right? Whereas here in a vernacular, your audience is so focused. Your content is so focused. The connect is so focused.
I think I agree with you because, again, vernacular, it's only recently that content on social media for vernacular languages is also picked up.
Yeah.
Which wasn't there before. And English, like when I talk to people also, right? If I'm talking in English versus when I'm talking, say, in Hindi, because that's my mother tongue, it feels, when I talk in Hindi, it feels more relatable, more.
Yeah. There's one warmth that immediately comes into play. And I even noticed this, I do theatre as well.
Yeah.
So I noticed this even on stage. Like if the English is very, like they say, hit English, too English, right?
Sophisticated
English, you immediately can see the connect getting looser and looser. Yeah. But the moment your language is similar to the language that the audience is speaking, that connect is far stronger.
That's interesting. I mean, okay, let's jump to a little bit of your background when you started off, right? 21 years ago, radio was the thing, correct?
Yeah.
Or was TV also picking up that time?
No, TV had picked up.
Okay.
TV had picked up already. So your cable came in sometime in the late 80s, 90s. During that time, cable TV was huge. And radio, actually, private radio started only in 2000. Until then, it was All India Radio, FM on All India Radio. It wasn't as focused on the listener as much, right? When private FM came in, then suddenly there was a lot more focused programming. How the music played out was a lot more focused. So it wasn't. So when I used to work in All India Radio, I'd go in there, I'd get an hour slot once or twice a week. I'll go pick out whichever songs I wanted to play. Today I feel like playing this and I'll play this. But that does not put focus on the listener, because in the previous hour, the same person may have played 4 of those songs. Another person may have played 4 of those songs, right? And that's not a good listening experience. So when your softwares kick in, then suddenly you can now schedule your music, right? So you have like, I want a song from, let's say, a particular era to play only once in 3 days, right? So now there's a lot more, now you're a product.
Right.
And when I can create a particular promise with the product for the listener. So it becomes very listener focused in that sense.
So, again, during that time, what was radio like back then versus what is it now?
Okay, so see that at that time, there was a sense of mystery around radio.
Okay.
Because you could only hear the person. There was no visual media attached to it at all, right? So you'll have a sense of who this person is by the way they talk, by the way they conduct themselves on air. And you didn't get to meet the RJ very often, right? So that sense of mystery was very nice.
People fell in love with people's voices.
With their personalities on air, right? You might have a deep voice, you might have a gorgeous voice, but have no personality, in which case you're not interesting, you're not engaging. So
you want to call out someone who doesn't have personality?
No. Lidge. No. Uh, oh, I will diss North India completely in this. But there's so many of them. So, so many of the jocks that I know in when I go to another city, especially in North India, they have a specific style of talking.
Okay.
They'll talk fast and their intonations are very similar. And it's almost like one has become a clone of the other, which is very sad, but that's how, unfortunately, it is. I mean, this is anecdotal. So this is anecdotal data.
Got it.
It is not to paint an entire region. So there was this sense of mystery around the people because there was no visual media. Then slowly, your social media started happening, and then people started appearing. Their jocks had to appear on social media because now, my on-air persona, I would drive it to social media, but then slowly that pivoted where I have to be on social media to draw people to experience me on air.
Is that become part of your job now?
It has.
Ooh.
It has. It has. In fact, just till last year, 60% of my KRAs was how well I did on social media in the digital space.
Wow, 60%.
Yeah, 60%.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then we have a new CEO now, and he's come in and he said, please, just because you make good content on radio doesn't mean you can make good content on social media. You may not be interested, you may not even have the knack to do it. So you focus on radio and bring back the magic of radio. So which is what we've been focusing on recently, and we will get a digital team to create digital content.
Talking about bringing magic to radio, as a Gen Z, right? I'm 25 years old. You almost have a career spanning my
That's correct.
life.
Yeah.
I feel like, and as a social media guy, I feel like radio. Who listens to radio at this point? Right?
Yeah. So the thing is that you might not listen to radio, but there is a very large population that does listen to the radio, and these are currently for us the people who were exposed to the radio when they were your age, when they were younger.
Okay.
Right. So because they've been exposed to the radio, they grew up listening to the radio. I mean, having radio in their lives, they still have that habit of listening to the radio. There are also interesting. There are a lot of people your age who listen to the radio as well, and who message us and who we have conversations with on air.
Wow.
So yes, that audience is there. Unfortunately, what happened was that from the phone, the radio app was removed.
Okay.
Which made it less accessible to people.
Correct.
Right? And you had your streaming. Streaming was easier to access on your phone now.
Yeah.
And that's the device you have with you everywhere you go. The government has recently said that they want all phone manufacturers to reinstall the radio app.
Oh, that's amazing.
Now, maybe that will help more people access the radio. The reason that the government has said this is that during the time of disaster, radio is the only medium that's accessible, right? And therefore, it has to be made available. So we'll see if that comes into play. Then maybe we'll have more people like you tuning into the radio on the move.
Of course. Are people actually sitting at home and listening to radio? Do you know of such cases?
Our sense is that a lot of the radio listenership is happening in cars.
Correct.
So when you're on the move from one place to another and you have access to the radio, you'll choose the radio.
And your majority of the audience is like an older 35, 45.
So we're around 28 onwards.
Okay.
In that's space.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So now that you have been doing radio for so long, what have been some of the cases that you've had to deal with where you just wanted to let go? I'm like, okay, I'm done with radio. Have there been such instances?
Actually, never.
Wow. Okay.
Never. I love this medium. I love what I can do with this medium.
What is it that you love about it? Why have you stuck around for 21?
I've done multiple roles. This is the role that I want to do, which is being on air. Okay. the reason I want to do this is because at heart, I'm an entertainer. I'm a performer. Okay. So I'll grab any opportunity to get on stage, perform, do a play, be part of a theater, collective, any number of things. As long, because what I love is being able to entertain you. And, there are moments on stage where I'll have you laughing one moment, and the next moment, just by shifting a few things, you can hear the quiet descend into the room. Wow. And it's magical what you can do. Now, on radio, it's not as dramatic as that because you don't get that feedback because I'm just... But I know enough people who've messaged me saying thank you. Thank you for what you do. So my motive is very simple. When I get on air, I want to do just one thing for you. You have a tough drive to wherever you're going to. It's tough. On the streets of this city, it is tough. My job, what I want to do is to make you forget that you're going through something tough. To distract you, to put a smile on your face so that when you get to wherever you've got to, you're in a good mood to do whatever you've set out to do. That's my only motive. And I love doing that day in and day out.
Have you ever thought of starting a podcast? Because it's same, except, you could just make it, like ours is video, you could just make an audio only podcast. Have you ever thought about that?
I have. What I like about radio is I am doing bite-sized pockets of content.
Okay.
Which is pretty much reel length.
Right.
So if you're a digital creator who's used to and who loves creating these short form pieces of content, do you consider making a long form piece of content? Maybe. But this does not necessarily mean that you can do that.
That's amazing that you're saying this, because that is the same problem that creators on like Instagram that make reels are facing in terms of transitioning onto long form.
Yeah.
It's the same problem.
Yeah, it's a different animal, right? So yes, I have thought about making podcasts, but two things. One, I'm saying why, right? Am I going to make more money? No. At this point, podcasts are not monetizable. So then, what's the motive? The motive is probably I'll reach out to more people, maybe. But the amount of work that you have to put in to get to that point where you're able to reach out to more people, at this point I'm saying, do I really want to put in that kind of effort? I don't have the motivation to.
Right. And I'm guessing you want to continue, you want to end your career with radio.
I want to. Who knows? My bosses, it's all in their hands, no? It's not mine.
No, again, why I keep focusing on this, your career throughout being in the same space, is because that's not what the current generation focuses on. We are very shifty. We are very quick to move on toward a new thing.
Yeah.
What is the one thing that you would want to tell a person like me who's listening to this, who wants to do new things?
Do it.
But what about sticking to your ground and doing one thing that...
Who is to say that one is better than the other, right? Who am I to say that one is better than the other? If I know people who their only reason to do their job is so that they can get enough money to travel. I know enough people like that. Each one has their own... you have your own motivation for doing it.
Correct.
Right? You want to try different things. You want to do different things.
Correct.
So do it.
But what about, I feel like when people, especially people younger than me who are just right out of college, who are doing different things and are moving from one company to another, one startup to another, they're not being loyal, right? And I feel like that loyalty is something that is missing from my generation or the younger millennials.
And maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but it's also a function of the environment that you've grown in.
That's true.
You've grown in a hyper,
hyper changing,
hyper stimulating environment.
Right.
There is the concept of patience is not there. Right? It's because you've grown up in a world where when you touched your phone, it responded to you immediately. And you've constantly done that. You've had the access to, like, when you're watching a show, you're getting bored with some bit, you'll immediately fast forward, find a frame that looks interesting, okay, and then I start watching from there.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a function of multiple things coming together for you, and you're therefore a function of this environment. So this what is loyalty? Yeah, I mean, I think loyalty is overrated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, my ask for anyone is that when you're in a particular role, have complete ownership of that role.
Right.
Have complete ownership of that role and have ownership towards the brand that you're part of. Loyalty and all can go take a
Backseat.
flying fuck. Yeah. But what is loyalty? I mean, come on, please.
Interesting. Can you tell me some interesting stories or interesting events that have happened in your radio career? I know you focus more on entertainment. So you wouldn't have gotten into the trouble that a lot of, say, news people get in.
Yeah.
But have there been any interesting cases? Some sort of a hardcore fan that was stalking you?
Oh no, man. See, I never had the luck of a hardcore fan.
You're a good-looking man, also. I'm
Thank
sure
you very much.
There are girls that, I don't know. Has there been some cases?
A couple, but I always blew them off. I'm not interested. It's too much of a hassle.
Yeah.
It goes down a rabbit hole that's just not worth it. So yeah, they want to meet. They say, "Can I meet you for a cup of coffee?" I said, "Sure, come to office. We can have a cup of coffee." "No, I want to meet you outside." Immediately, policy doesn't allow it. So no, I wouldn't do that.
But any interesting stories that you would want to share for the audience?
Politically correct, incorrect?
We can go both ways. Let's start with politically correct and then let's go
politically correct. Okay, so then the soft stories.
Okay.
So some of the things that have stuck in my mind. There was this story of a lady whose daughter was admitted in a hospital, and she was out of town. She heard about it and she came back. And when she came back to the hospital, she realized that the daughter was not being treated properly, in that the treatment that was being given to her was not right. And she said, "I need to take her out of this hospital," but there was nobody willing to help her. And they were stopping her from doing it as well, because I'm assuming that the hospital also is saying that you can't take her out now. Maybe the hospital would have been liable, I don't know. But she carried her daughter on her shoulder and said, "I am walking out of this hospital now." Walked out of the hospital, took her to another hospital. That was one story that was shared on air, which I was like, it just requires a different level of courage to do something like that.
Yeah.
Like, to know that your daughter is critical, but you're moving her out of the hospital that she's in currently because you have decided that this treatment is not right for her.
And that's motherly instinct, right? You hear about it all the time.
Yes.
That's amazing. But where was this? Was it in Bangalore?
In Bangalore.
In Bangalore?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Then there was this one really fun story where we were giving away tickets.
Okay.
And saying that if you don't have a partner to go out, or you don't have a partner for some plan, you don't have a plan this weekend, here's a movie ticket for you. Go, tell us what your story is though. So this guy called me and he said, I had a fight with my girlfriend this morning, and she left the house in a huff. I've been trying to reach her all day and speak to her, but she's not talking to me. I said, okay, give me a number. And I spoke to her. She said, I haven't even left the house. I'm on the terrace. So then I called him back and I said, listen, can you do one thing? Can you just head out to the terrace and I'll tell you what to do next? And so they're both on call with me, and he heads out to the terrace and he's like, you here? And she's like, I've been here all along. And he said, I'm so sorry. And they apologized. They got together And I said, here's one more ticket. Both of you go for a movie.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a
How
gorgeous
cool,
story.
how
It's
cool,
a gorgeous
how
story, yeah.
There'll be so many such instances that you come across, right?
Yeah. So, what's very interesting is that so many of these people have never met me. But because of who I am on air and the way I speak to them, there is almost an instant friendship camaraderie. So when I call someone and I speak to them on air, there is no awkwardness. There is no, I've met you, I've never met you, I don't know you, I don't know who you are. There's like, Jimmy, hi, like, how are you doing? It's that. It's almost like long lost friends.
They know you through the voice and through the personality.
They know me as a friend. And that's beautiful for me.
Interesting. Let's get into some not so political.
Not so politically correct. Okay, so I think my on air, because we have a whole set of, we have a policy document about what we can talk, what we cannot talk. Also because the All India Radio has a set of guidelines, right? We're far more careful on air, right? So we try and just toe the line, like just little bit, see how much we can push that. So once there was the Ram Janmbhoomi thing happening, and the huge fights were happening. It's gone to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has to decide.
This is around 2017-20.
Around that time,
Okay.
yes. So I went on air and I said, I'm very centrist. I mean, I'm not taking sides. I'm not saying this or that. I said that I think the best thing to do with this, it's a large parcel of land. The best thing to do with this is forget all this religious, this disharmony. Give it to an orphanage. At least that way the land is being used for a good cause. Didn't go down very well. I got a whole bunch of people messaging me, what do you know? You're a Christian. How can you say things like this? I said, I didn't say anything about your religion. I didn't say anything about anybody else's religion. I only believe.
So
This
then
is
you got
not
attacked by
practice.
both the sides.
No, so it's
What was one side?
one side. Here's the one side. So that was on air. But because, like I say, our guidelines are very specific.
Before you go on to your next story, I want to ask, like, if an RJ, again, hypothetical situation, I might be wrong, but if an RJ is like frustrated with its company, for example, you are frustrated with your company, and you're just like, okay, fuck this, I'm going out of here. You go live on air. You can say whatever. It's not like there is a filter check right before someone you say something.
Yeah.
You could say anything.
It's possible.
It's possible, right? Has that ever happened? Have you ever has any RJ done that before?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of. See, there is the implications also are, you might be able to pull this off, but then where will you go from there?
I mean, you will be fired. You want to get out of the company, you will be fired. You might not have a job.
Where will you go from there? If this is what you've done, and let's say that it does become headlines, all of that, you're at the center of it. Who's going to touch you next? Well, your self-preservation is also there. No, I need my next job as well.
True.
So you'll be careful about. I mean, those are some of the filters that you will already have for yourself. So
There's never been any RJ who's gone rogue and sort of said things that they were not supposed to.
not that I know of. No, I mean, it's not been in retaliation to the organization,
Right.
but they've said things, and some of them have lost their jobs also. It happened.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there any story that you could maybe?
No, I can't think of something that happened in Bangalore, but I think somewhere in the north, somewhere there was some comment about an Indian Idol contestant. It was a huge controversy that happened. They borrowed some comment about some Indian Idol, which was very racist, and probably done not even out of spite, but it was done, and it blew up, and they had to be let go of.
So yeah, coming to the next story.
So on air, like I said, but on social media, those filters are a little out. And my general approach to things is either sarcasm or humor. I once put out a post during the Kumbh Mela.
Kumbh Mela.
during COVID.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And they had decided they were going to go ahead with the Mela. I was like, shit, this is so stupid, right? I mean, you know that you're not supposed to have crowds, all of that, but you're still going ahead with it. So I put a very simple post on my handle saying, Kumbh Mela was a killer event.
I see what you did.
No, you did. Yes. I saw what I did there. And it didn't go down well. I wasn't surprised. So I got a bunch of threats, people like threatening me, like, too Christian, similar slurs. How can you say this? I ignored more. Then there were some people who said, I will get your account pulled down. Then they went to family galis and all of that. So anybody who gave me like galis, my immediate response was report them to Instagram. That's it. I mean, I'm not even going to respond to you. Muh nahi lagna chahta main. Chalo. And some of them actually got pulled down also by Instagram.
Wow. I mean,
in your face. So that. But yeah, it didn't go down well. And it amuses me. It amuses me that people feel so strongly about these things. They sit somewhere, probably don't even have a job.
Yeah.
Sometimes some of my posts, there are people who get upset and give gali and all of that. Trolls, basically. And my first response, oh my God, you're so cute. I actually say, oh, you're so cute, I love you too. Then they don't know what to do because they're trying to get a rise out of me. I'm not going to rise to the bait like, shut up, have you seen this? It's not just happened. So cute, yeah, so cute. That's it. They don't know what to do after that.
And we get sort of the similar thing on our page also because we talk about everything related to do with politics.
Right. Oh, you must be getting a lot of...
Yeah, I mean, we try, like the name says, barely opinionated, right?
Yeah.
We try not to put out any opinions, but still, one day there is one side that is coming towards us, one day there is other side that's coming towards us.
Yeah.
So I completely get what you mean. Coming back to being an RJ, how much does give, okay, I don't want you to give me exact numbers, but give me a round figure of how much does an RJ like you with so much experience make?
Can't tell you. So I'm going to tell you how much I always sharp.
It's like immediate.
Yeah, can't tell you. Okay, so here's the thing. Depending on what kind of experience you have, you could earn anywhere from starting at about 20,000 a month to even more than your CEO's salary.
Wow.
Because
It's just about your popularity. And
it's just about how popular you are and how much the station wants to keep you back. The more popular you get, the more leverage you have.
So how much does your station want to keep you back?
At this point, I don't even know whether they want to. This is status quo. We're sailing. We are not going to rock the boat. We don't know.
Smooth sailing.
Yes. When it happens, we'll know.
And if someone wants to get into the radio jockey industry, whether as a producer or as a jockey itself, what can they do? How can they get into it?
So firstly, they'll have to kill off some people from the existing radio stations because the attrition is very low.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a fun job.
People don't leave?
Very rarely. Now with digital being in the mix as well, I see more people leaving because they've suddenly gained a lot of followers and they want to monetize that.
Correct.
And they want to focus on that. So now because that's there in the mix, we see more people leaving. But otherwise, once you're in, very often you stay for a very long time.
Okay. But again, like if...
So if you want to be an RJ, there are two things that you have to be able to do. One is to be creative with content and two is be engaging, right? When I say be creative with content, what are my content pieces today, right? My content pieces are stuff that is available to everybody. And even more today than it was before. So you have enough apps to give you all the information that's happening in the world and you get notifications as and when they happen, right? Therefore, when I speak about that on air, I have to be able to be creative with it, right? There are two types of people who are listening to me at any point of time. Someone who's consumed the content, someone who hasn't. For the person who hasn't consumed that piece of content, just by saying it, I have added value to their life. But for the person who has already consumed the content, how am I adding value to their life? I have to be able to add something else on top of that, which is entertaining. And that is my signature.
Got it.
Right? Only Jimmy can say this. Right? So that's something that you have to be able to do. And you will build that over a period of time. But that's the focus you need to have. Saying that with every piece of content, I need to sign it with my name.
Right. There are a lot of RJs, or there are a lot of famous people right now that started their career as RJs as well, right?
Right.
I am not very familiar with a lot of these names, but I know at least in the north, like there have been a lot of people that have been related to the show called Roadies. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
And there are a lot of these RJs that have been related to that have gone on to become famous, right? Have you ever wanted to switch to because you do theater also, have you ever wanted to go to the movie industry or any other media industry apart from radio?
I haven't pursued.
Okay.
You've got an opportunity? I've had a few opportunities, but I never wanted to leave radio because I love it so much. So I haven't really I've done a few ads here and there, but that's about it. And even those I didn't like pursue them. I knew people, they said, hey, do you want to try out? I said, sure, why not? I'd love to. Any opportunity to perform, I'm happy to explore. I did a few,
Very interesting, very interesting. What do you think future radio is going to die?
No.
Never?
No.
Why do you think that?
I think that it is the only medium that gives you companionship.
Okay.
There is no other medium that does that. You name the medium and I'll tell you why it's different.
YouTubers have a very strong fan following. Like they have die-hard fan following.
They have die-hard fan followings. That is
even mainstream actors too in certain cases. But I feel like that's coming down as the creator game is sort of increasing.
Yeah. So a celebrity is far removed from me.
Right.
I have no access.
Correct.
Right.
True.
The YouTuber, as they get bigger and bigger as well, you have no access.
Distant,
You become distant, right? So yes, there is a connect, but the YouTuber is still catering to a global audience.
Interesting.
Every medium, there is a lot of spill, right? Whereas in radio, I'm only speaking to the city. I will talk to you about things that matter to you in the city. I will have conversations with you about you, right?
About things that bother me in the city, that I care about in the city.
Yeah. Now tell me, how many YouTubers, for example, will speak to a Kushal who's driving to work today and has got stuck on Silk Board? Nobody can do that. This is the only medium that can do that. Newspapers cannot do that. Your television cannot do that. Your podcast, so there's no interactivity at all, right? This is the only medium that allows for the listener to directly connect with the RJ while they're on air. Nobody can compete with that.
I think I get what you mean. But is there anything like, as the social media world is sort of rising and growing, do you have some sort of a spite? Like, for example, when I look at people, or when I talk to people and they talk about other people, they will have some sort of spite with someone in their industry.
You mean like a beef?
Beef.
Yeah.
In the Gen Z world. Do you have any beef with the influencer or the content creators in today's world? Because, see, what's happening right now is that people in a short span of like 2, 3, 4 months, some of them just start reaching a huge chunk of audience that industry veterans have not been able to do.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Doesn't that like poke you like, oh, this person is just so...
Yeah, no, of course. I'm envious of your ability to do that. I'm envious that you've managed to crack that. I'm envious. Yes. Do I grudge you? No, I don't grudge you for that. You're seeing that growth now, but you've rugged enough to get to that point to be able to get that growth. And it's not, there aren't too many overnight sensations like that.
Right.
People have struggled. They said, I want to do this. So I will keep putting it out, keep consistently. Till at some point, it clicks.
Correct.
You know, one of my bosses used to say, you're just one video away from becoming viral. When that video will happen, we don't know. But it's just that one thing, right? But if you've not put in the work and that one video goes viral, you don't know how to continue to do that work. It's not going to do you any good. So yes, I'm envious, but I don't grudge it. I don't grudge you.
You don't care about social media. I mean, the people on social media that are growing and that are doing.
Of course I care. I know. So I know that you are, if you just look at it from a monetary point of view, I know you're making more money than me. I put in this much work and I get a salary at the end of the month. You probably will, once you've reached a certain space,
Correct.
You probably need to do one post and you'll earn 3 times my salary. Right?
Correct.
And I understand
But that's also very handful of people.
Correct. I understand that's how the monetary, but yeah, someone was telling me that this influencer marketing thing is not going to last for very long.
Correct.
Already you can see
It's going down.
products, you can see brands slowly pulling off from them, because the amount of money that you're putting on that one post is not going to give you the kind of visibility that you want. So I see that also slowly, that influencer marketing slowly
Dying.
out. Yeah, and not dying out yet, but it's becoming lesser.
Oh, it
and lesser.
does. If you see what brands are spending in, say, 21 or 20 is way higher than what they are doing now.
Right.
Funding winter or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But now, if like, does someone need to do a professional, like a course, or does it need to be an institutional education for someone to get into the radio space?
There is no course.
Okay.
There are currently no courses to be an RJ.
Okay.
You have courses in, you have media studies in various colleges, and as part of that, radio is a part of that curriculum. So you do that. But apart from that, you need to do a lot of work by yourself. So if you listen to the radio, you will get a sense of what this product is, what do they talk about, how do they approach their content, and then if you're really interested, then you say, okay, I'm going to start, let me try creating my own pieces of content and working on those. And I know, like, recently it's surprising, I've met some very hardcore radio lovers and said, I want to be here. Like, I want to be here. And they have, it didn't happen in the first go. Then they went back, they worked on it, kept sending, see this, can you give me some feedback? How does this sound? And I'm very happy to share feedback, because if you're interested, then it's great. If I get someone who loves the radio into the radio, my chances are that you'll stay for longer. Right? And so if I invest in you, I'm going to get back that investment as well.
Correct.
So happy to share that feedback with you. And they're now on air. And I'm so happy for them, because they're like, I wanted this and I got it.
Right.
So
it's very interesting to think about. Like, when I talk to you about being an RJ, one memory that comes to me is from this movie called Lage Raho Munna Bhai. Have you seen it?
yeah.
Do you remember what it was about? Like, so basically Vidya Balan in that was a radio jockey.
Yeah.
And
nobody talks like that. Sorry, Vidya, I love you, but
no, but that's the sort of memory that comes
Yeah,
to my
yeah,
mind.
yeah.
Is that true? Is that how it works? Is that how a radio jockey's life is?
sorry, remind me, what was the radio jockey's life?
I mean,
It was a regular life.
It was-
Like, she had parents who were old or who lived in a, what was that? In a home, right?
Correct.
Like home for the aged.
Correct. But then her radio world was sort of different, where she had like a hardcore fan base, which was also one of Sanjay Dutt was one of them.
Yeah, it is true for a lot of RJs. Like I said, the more vernacular you are in that city, the stronger your fan base is.
Right. She was also Mumbai focused. in
Yeah.
that movie.
So for example, your good jocks will have a killer base. Will have a very, very strong base. So for example, if you look at Mumbai, your Jituraj, your Malishka, they're very strong, and Like insane following
Really?
they have. Yeah. If you look at Delhi, then Naved, for example, who used to do Murgas, who does Murgas, huge fan base. Saima in Delhi, again, very, very strong fan base. So yeah, you'll have in Tamil Nadu, if you look at Sendil, who he is huge. There are a bunch of other people in other stations as well. They're like I said, the more vernacular you are, the stronger your fan base is.
Right. How does a radio station make money? Apart from
Primarily advertising, but now there are also other channels. So, for example, digital is one.
Okay.
We at Mirchi have our own app.
Okay.
So through that app, we're monetizing as well. We have our YouTube channels. So there's monetizing that happens there. We create programs that we sell to clients. And those, for example, we had Karan Johar, we had Shilpa Shetty, we had Kareena Kapoor Khan. All of these shows that go out on YouTube are sold to clients beforehand. So there's money that comes in like that also. So there are multiple revenue options currently and I think Mirchi has explored all of them.
And is it that Mirchi entered the digital space recently, like around the COVID time, or have you guys been in it from before?
No, we've been in it before. Our focus became a lot sharper I think just before COVID hit. The focus on digital became far more. It was very sharp, saying there were targets and saying that we need to be able to put out this much content. So there were targets on content also, how much content needs to go out as well. So it's not a COVID phenomenon. It is something that was a part of the strategy before COVID hit.
Just that it's become more focused.
Yeah.
Right. And were you guys allowed? I mean, I'm guessing you guys were on during COVID also.
Yeah.
Yeah. Were you guys essential workers? Were you guys put under the essential worker category, or how did it work? How were you coming to office?
We weren't. We were doing our shows from home.
Oh, okay.
So we have access to the systems.
Okay.
And
but you have that whole
console and all that is for going live.
Okay.
So we need that console when we're going live, when we're recording callers, speaking to callers, then we need all of those systems. So while we were, during COVID, we couldn't interact with people, but we interacted with a lot of experts via Zoom, and then we cut those interviews and take the audio from that and play it on the channel.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So we found ways to get, the experts on air and all of that, and we do our recordings from home and put it into the system.
What is your most hated format of radio? Like, for example, one of my favorite formats on radio is the prank calls.
Right.
They're very, very entertaining.
Right.
I don't remember. There's one person that is like really famous for prank.
Naved.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which format do you love the most, and which one do you hate the most?
Actually, I don't think I hate. What gets under my skin is poor conversation.
Okay.
So if you're having this random conversation with someone that's not interesting,
do you feel the same about this one?
No. I'm doing most of the talking. Please, I was asking you whether you're feeling that way. So when those conversations go on air, when it's not, when the RJ has not put any effort into creating an entertaining piece of content, you just turned on the mic and you did whatever you wanted to do. I'm like, you realize that your job, you're in Bangalore, for example, you're one of, let's say, 6 radio stations. If you take an average of 4-5 jocks, you're one of 25 people in this city.
Each city has a limit, or
no? I'm saying there are 6 radio stations.
Okay.
Right? 6 or 8 radio stations. 8 radio stations, private radio stations, on an average has about 4 jocks.
Okay.
32 people.
Okay.
In this city, you're one of 32 people.
Oh, okay.
Do you realize that position that you're in? Do you realize how special you are? Not many people have this. You're one out of 32 people in this entire city of Bangalore. When you turn that mic on, realize how special you are and ensure that you're giving people something special.
Do you have to work, like, you don't have weekends or anything?
No, we have weekends.
So the recording is done?
No, so Sundays, so we have a few syndicated shows.
Okay.
So shows that are produced centrally.
In the sense?
Produced centrally. So you will have a Mirchi Top 20, for example,
Acha.
or Indie Pop Top 10. You will have, we also have, we have a podcast kind of a show. We have a audio stories kind of a show. So all of these come centrally and we play it on air.
Radios are also liable to sort of put out any important headline that sort of comes out. Like, for example, a natural calamity, an attack or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Has that been any case for you? Have you ever had to do something like that during your...
Do what?
Make these major news announcements?
Yeah. So for example, during COVID, it came out that radio was one of the few trusted mediums.
Okay.
So we had to ensure that any content that we put out was verified. We don't face that here very often, but in Chennai, for example, the tsunami. When the tsunami happened, when there are storms and there are floods, your radio is the medium that is the go-to medium to say, what do we do? Who do we get in touch with? So you're constantly beaming out these helpline numbers, people to reach out to, numbers to reach out to, having conversations with people on the road, like people matlab officials.
Right.
Constantly having those updates coming out on air saying, this is the situation, this is what's happening, this is what you need to do. So radio in the time of a disaster or a calamity is really the go-to medium.
Right. And of course, before 2000s, it was majorly radio that people used to listen to. Like my father was telling me that in the 80s or 70s, radio, also to own a radio, you needed a license.
To own a radio station or to own a
radio.
Oh,
He was telling me that you needed a license and only a limited number of people would have that license to actually own a radio.
Wow.
That's why like people in villages would sort of gather in one place.
Okay, right.
Sort of. I'm guessing you haven't experienced it. Are you from Bangalore itself? Seen back.
I've been here since 84.
84. Okay. Born and brought up.
Not born and brought up.
Okay.
80. I moved here in my second standard.
Interesting. What is it that you love about this city?
I've grown up here, man.
You talk about you are only talking about anything related to the city.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Like there has to be some sort of an in-depth relation that you share with the city.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up here. I went to school here. So there's a whole bunch of memories with school, going to school. I played cricket here. So starting from the leather balls cricket, playing on a mat, to playing tennis ball cricket in small grounds, and every Sunday going out at about 8 in the morning, coming back at 4 in the evening, playing at least 6-7 matches a day. There's there's so many things have happened here, right? Like falling in love, going out on dates, getting caught. Everything has happened in Bangalore for me, and it's a whole bunch of memories. So yeah, Bangalore is everything of note that happened. Not everything, most of everything of note that happened in this city to me.
If you could change one thing about the city, except for traffic or roads, what would it be?
Empathy.
Okay.
When I saw Bangalore become angrier.
Okay.
As the influx of IT happened, as the influx of people, migrants happened, came into this city, I saw the natives get angrier and angrier. There's a lot of anger in the air.
And that anger still, of course, is growing and growing.
Yeah, it's going. Now it's probably going to get worse with work from home now out of the way, people coming back to the city. It's almost like a second wave of the influx because property prices are going up, rents are going up, houses are becoming smaller, they're becoming matchbox like in Mumbai. There's a whole bunch of things that's happening. But through all of that, what I'd actually like is for just treat everything with love. Just be kinder. Just be kind to the people around you.
You're also sort of a migrant in Bangalore, or would you call yourself a migrant?
I've been here for 40 years, man. I don't think I can call myself a migrant anymore. But yeah, I'm not a native Kannadiga.
Right.
My father's Malayali, my mother's Bengali. We moved here in 84. So yeah, we're not native to but I'm as hardcore a Bangalore boy as.
Same.
Yeah.
Even I'm not from here. I'm not from Bangalore.
Okay.
I'm actually from Assam, and I came here 15, 16 years ago.
Okay.
And I've grown up here, school,
Nice.
college, everything. So even I have that love for Bangalore, but then I feel a little disconnected in a lot of ways, because of that divide of a Kannadiga and a non-Kannadiga, right? And I feel like as people continue to shift here from different places for their work, for their education, these people fear, like I've spoken to so many people, they fear for themselves ki, I don't know Kannada, I'm gonna face problems. Is that an actual thing according to your experience in this city?
No.
No?
Because I know that this city has welcomed people from everywhere. And in fact, if I were to compare this with Chennai, if you go to Chennai and you try and speak in Hindi to anybody, they will not speak to you. They might know the language, but they will not speak to you in Hindi. They will make it as difficult for you as possible. Here, if you speak to them in Hindi, the auto driver will speak to you back in Hindi. If you speak to them in Telugu, they'll speak to you back in Telugu. If you speak in Tamil, they will speak to you back in the language that you know. However, if they know that you're a Kannadiga, that you can speak the language, that you're at least attempting to speak the language, there is an immediate soft spot for you.
Oh, really?
Like I know enough people who are not Kannadiga. They've come here and they said, I'm in Bangalore, I want to learn the language. I want to learn the language. I'll learn a few words. And the moment they speak to the auto guy or they speak to the roadside vendor, in their broken Kannada, whatever little they know, their faces light up.
Really?
Because they're like, you're giving my language the respect.
But I feel like, even because I am also someone who is okay at Kannada, not very good, but not like I don't know anything. But I'm scared to talk in Kannada with locals, because I feel like they might take advantage of me because I don't exactly understand completely.
It may happen. It may. So what? So what? Nah.
Right.
I mean, what are you protecting yourself against? The fact that and how will they take advantage of you? They may fleece you a little bit. They may get more money out of you. You can afford it. Right. So what's the problem? I think the outcome of that you're at least trying is, will in fact not work against you. The fact that you're not trying will probably work more against you than the fact that you're trying. And I'm telling you, I know people who've spoken 3 words, 4 words. They said, you're trying, no? Suck.
That's very cool. Okay, awesome, Jimmy. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Any last words for the audience? Because my audience, you will have a hardcore fan base in this city, but then my audience is spread out and it's young, so they might not know you that very well.
Right.
Any message for them?
So you want me to take off my clothes so they get to know me?
Metaphorically, I hope.
Metaphorically, wow. Okay, you're being safe. Okay, I don't have any last words. I think this is coming off from the conversation that we had itself. There are just way too many people telling you what to do, how to do, what's the right way. In my view, there is no right way. You do you. But back yourself. So this is something that I read many years ago in a book called If You Meet the Buddha on the Road, Kill Him, which it's a clickbait title for the book. But basically it's saying that whatever you need to know, you have to tap into it. As one of the things that was there in that laundry list was, you can do whatever you want to. Whatever you choose to do, you can do. just be ready to face the consequences.
Hmm.
Prepare yourself that for whatever I choose to do today, there will be some consequence and I have to be able to deal with it. If you're prepared for that, then there's really nothing that can get in your way. So, yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No, my pleasure.
You guys can catch Jimmy on Radio Mirchi in Bangalore between 7 a.m. and 12 p.m.
That's
Correct?
correct. 95 is the frequency, 95 FM.
95 FM. That's about it for today. Thank you so much for listening to this conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys found it helpful. And thank you, Jimmy, for sharing everything that you did.
Can I do a plug? Like
Yes,
a cheap
of
plug?
course, please.
My Instagram handle
Oh, yes.
is Mirchi Jimmy. I do bite-sized pieces of silly content. Put a smile on your face. So follow me there.
It's very fun. And he's also trying to learn a lot of Gen Z lingo. So if you're interested, you can probably hit him up in his DMs and teach him something.
Cheers.